Welcome back to the final episode of Plead Your Case of the 2023 fall semester. I'm Anthony DeFilippo. I'll be your host for today. We were unable to rally the troops for the main segments this week, but we still have a bit of unfinished business to do. We'll find out who the finalists are for the 2023 Plead Your Case Pick'em Championship right after this, but as is tradition, sit back, relax, it's time to plead your case. Welcome to the first and only segment here on the final episode of the semester here on Plead Your Case. I'm Anthony DeFilippo once again, and I think without further ado, it's time to unveil the two finalists for today's championship. To my right, with 10 wins, Ethan Spozarski wearing the Randy Moss jersey today, and to my left, also with 10 wins, last year's reigning champion, Spencer Frattare. Spence, let's start with you. How ready are you for today's championship?
Listen, I told Mr. Spozarski before, it's a win-win situation for me. You know, I either go back-to-back or I pass off the crown to a young guy who deserves it. And he's one of the guys I'd like to pass off to. But that being said, this isn't going to be easy, and I do plan on going back-to-back.
Ms. Spozarski, a word?
You know, the sentimentals were definitely appreciated.
They weren't sentimental.
And, well,
they're more mind games.
Can you not? Cornfield. Think about the cornfield we were talking about earlier. I will be corny all day for you. But in all seriousness, no. Spencer and I, we do a lot of jabbing back and forth, and it's going to be, I'm very excited for this episode. It's definitely overdue to have us on a segment together. So,
you know, one thing I'm not excited for, the New England Patriots and Pittsburgh Steelers game tomorrow. The over-under is right where it should be, one of the lowest ever. Ethan, let's start with you. New England-Pittsburgh, make your pick.
New England-Pittsburgh, it's going to be an ugly game, and I'm not saying that because they used Bill Belichick as the guy for the Patriots on the Thursday night graphic, but also for the fact that, I mean, Patriots are they are the worst they've been since 2000. They look atrocious, mostly offensively. Their defense at times does have good moments. Steelers lose Kenny Pickett. They've 4 or 5 injuries against the Arizona Cardinals, along with 2 rain delays, which really doesn't help the body either. But I am, believe it or not, I will stick with the home team. I'll take the Pittsburgh Steelers in a Thursday night matchup here. But it's not going to be pretty, and it's probably going to be by at least 3 to 5 points.
So 5-0 then.
Because of the situation both teams are in, I think that's a fair take.
Spencer?
Yeah, I'm glad you guys both mentioned it because, I mean, let me just tell you, I am not excited for this game. When you think Thursday night or Monday night games, you think, oh, great game. 2 really good teams. Primetime football. This is not it. Seeing Bill Belichick on a graphic next to TJ Watt is something I thought I'd never see. And as much as it pains me, I would like to play this safe and just go with the Steelers. Everything in me wants to take the Patriots, but they just have not shown me anything this year for me to be able to pick them. I'll go with the Steelers here as well.
Now, see, last week you didn't play it safe. You took the Cardinals at 2 wins, and it actually paid off for you, helping you.
He also built up the Steelers for a solid 30 seconds, and then he goes, "But I'm gonna take the Cardinals." He pulled a Pat McAfee before Pat McAfee pulled it. It was 180, but he got the win, so that's what's up.
Let's start off here with the Sunday slate. Tampa Bay, Atlanta. This is a big game for the NFC South. Spencer, let's start with you here.
Look, guys, while most Cleveland fans don't like Baker Mayfield, I'm a huge fan of him. I think he's had a great year this year. I think he is highly underrated. I know we're tough on quarterbacks these days, but I think he's played really well with the situation he's been in. He's got Chris Godwin, and not to mention Mike Evans, who's now 10-plus seasons of 1,000-plus receiving yards. With that being said, I'll go ahead and take the Buccaneers here.
Buccaneers. Okay, yes. Spose.
I'm also going to take the Buccaneers in this situation. I've up until this year, I've been one of the harshest critics besides Colin Cowherd on Baker Mayfield. But this year, he has been very impressive for me. I've been a fan of watching him this year, being able to distribute the ball. Mike Evans, for some reason, is one of the most underrated wide receivers in recent memory. And the guy has 10 straight seasons with 1,000 yards. He broke his own record. Let's put some respect on his name. But with that being said, I think the Bucs do beat the Falcons.
So 2 games in, no differences. I feel like this one will probably go the same way unless Spencer decides to get bold. Detroit, Chicago. Spencer?
As much as I would like to go different, I've rode with Mr. Goof all year. I'm going to continue that train. Give me the Lions and Jared Goff. I know they've had some rough games. The Thanksgiving game wasn't the greatest. The Ravens game wasn't the greatest. But with that being said, I think the Lions are truly a contender this year. They've got a great offense, and the defense has been stellar this year as well.
I don't know how you don't take the Lions in this situation. I mean, yeah, they had a bad game against Green Bay on Thanksgiving, which was mainly due to the start. But the other 2 losses were close games, very close. One loss in overtime to Seattle. That was an insanely close game. But I'm going to ride with my favorite head coach in the NFL, Mr. Dan Campbell. Man, let me tell you, man. I love him. He's the best. He's building something down there in Detroit. I don't think Detroit's seen that in a long time.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys are thinking, but I could definitely see a difference here. Indianapolis, who's actually been good. Do you believe in Minshew Mania? Or Cincinnati? Spose, let's go to you first here.
So the funny thing about this is Indianapolis this year, I was convinced they were going to finish dead last in the AFC South. I really wasn't riding high with this team.
Wow.
But Gardner Minshew really turning things around. Browning, they were able to pull off a very close win against the Jaguars. With that being said, I will ride with Minshew Mania and the Colts. I'm going to take the Indianapolis Colts to win this game. Shaq Leonard, they released him. He's now an Eagle. That's just a shame. But I really do believe the Colts are continuing in the right direction despite losing some key players like him and Jonathan Taylor. So I'll take the Colts.
Spencer, are we a big Jake Browning guy or what?
Guys, I was not the start, but let me tell you, after watching that Monday night game, he played very well. So, with that being said, your first difference, I will take the Bengals. I know he hasn't looked great, but Joe Mixon looks pretty good. Jamar Chase did his thing. If the defense can step up against Minshew Mania, I think there's a slight chance the Bengals pull it out. And if you're Bengals, it's go time for you guys. You're trying to get into that wild card. You're trying to get into this intense playoff race that we have right now. And I think it's go time for the Bengals. Give me Cincy.
Next game, Jacksonville, Cleveland. Spencer, I'll come to you first because I also have a follow-up question. You normally rep Browns jerseys on here today, sporting the Derek Carr. Why? And then make your pick.
I don't know. I felt a change. I really can't tell you why. I woke up this morning and wasn't feeling in a Browns mood. But now it's 3 o'clock here. I'm feeling in a Browns mood. I loved the way Joe Flacco had played against the Rams. I know they lost. Trust me.
By like 16 points.
For a guy sitting on the couch the entire season, he hasn't had much time with the team. I think he played pretty well considering what he had to go through in pretty much under a week. So I will take the Browns. I think they've got a great shot at winning, and the Browns are really in that same situation as the Bengals. It's go time for all of those teams. I think they've got to go get this one.
Second difference on the way?
Jacksonville last week, without Trevor Lawrence for at least half that game, was able to contest, but they could not pull out the win. I think a large part of that was because the offense could convert and defense couldn't make stops, which is pretty basic to talk about, but I think it's just exactly what happened during that game. Joe Flacco, like Jake Pugh, straight off the couch, and he was able to put up some pretty good numbers. I won't lie. That play action pass to Jerome Ford was pretty good. I'll be the first to admit that, not to let Luke Andrewson get a little too happy here when he hears this.
Oh, Lord.
But at the end of the day, it's two teams that have had up and down years. I think without Trevor Lawrence, Jacksonville will not be able to pull it off. So I will take the Browns in this situation. I am man enough to admit when the Browns are going to be a good team.
Joe Flacco.
I will take Joe Flacco and the Cleveland Browns, but don't let your heads get too filled with air here, Spence. I mean, the Browns are the Browns.
Still the one difference as we head into Carolina, New Orleans. Derek Carr, will he play this week? Will he be out? Spencer, we don't know. You're repping his jersey today. We'll go to Spose first. Carolina, New Orleans, make your pick.
New Orleans, nothing else needs to be said. I mean, it's Bryce Young. I mean, I think people are overreacting and saying he's a bust. He's not even through 1 year yet. Like, let's be real. Come on now. Like, the coaching wasn't the greatest ideal. They haven't had the best front office in recent memory. They sold all their weapons away. I mean, Adam Thielen has done an excellent job this year. There's no question about that. But I think we all need to relax on the Bryce Young slander. But that being said, I am, in fact, going to ride with the Saints here with or without Derek Carr.
We riding Bryce Young this week, Spence?
Unfortunately not. I will take the Saints, although, to your point, Bryce Young, Sparky, is a bust. Let me just tell you, everyone was saying Bryce Young over C.J. Stroud. The only two guys that believed it were me and Mr. Tyler Zeman. Shout out OSU. C.J. Stroud has performed way better.
I never said that though. I want the record to show I never said that. Go back to clip.
But I will say Bryce Young is a bust. So, no, but I will take the Saints because they just have not been well.
You know who's a bust? Deshaun Watson.
Okay. We're gonna move on to the next game here before actual hands get thrown on the desk. Houston Texans against New York. You mentioned C.J. Stroud, Spencer. So I'm gonna go over to you first.
C.J. Stroud has played so well. And I know they lose a great receiver. They lose Tank Dell, but Nico Collins has been right there next to him, having just as good of a season. And again, I'm an OSU guy, but not just really because of that. I mean, when you have a rookie who's having his name mentioned, I know he's not the favorite or not really in it anymore, but earlier in the season, Stroud was in that MVP conversation a little bit. When you have a rookie who's in that conversation for even just a week or two, I mean, that's special. So with that being said, I'll take the Texans.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. We definitely, obviously, have been more on the same side in this pick'em segment, but I think you're silly to not take C.J. Stroud. And
we all know Zach Wilson definitely has not been in the MVP conversation. Yeah. He's starting again this week. So
the Jets this year have been hyped up with Aaron Rodgers and the entire situation, everything. 4 plays later, their season went right down the toilet. Tim Boyle was here for 4 weeks. Now he's back at probably working at a Costco or something like. Let's be real. So
give him Sam's Club.
Yeah, I will take the Houston Texans in this situation. C.J. Stroud he's doing a spectacular job.
Yeah, Los Angeles Rams, who have had a fantastic running game the entire season. Kyron Williams has really saved my fantasy team. Just a little shout out to him there. Baltimore Ravens and Ryan Martin. So Spencer, let's go to you first.
The Fighting Ryan Martins, and I'm not going to pick the Ravens out of spite that the Browns lost to the Rams, but I just think they've played well all year. I mean, I don't know how Lamar really continuously does it. He doesn't really have a running back group. We had injuries early for them, and the wide receiver group they've got Zay Flowers, but I mean, Odell really hasn't performed like I think a lot of people thought he would with an elite quarterback like Lamar. So it's pretty special to see Lamar doing what he's doing with not much offense. So I'll take the Ravens.
Yeah, I'm in the exact same boat as you. I mean, this Ravens team is winning the division, and I want the record to show. I made a graphic, never been posted, but I made a graphic. So Baltimore is winning the division this year.
No pick,
because
no proof.
No pick, no proof. That's fair. I know the truth, and at the end of the day, Lamar's gonna pull out something special. Yeah. But I want the record to show we are not doing this for Ryan Martin or his ego. The video he made yesterday with Renegade and the Ravens, absolutely atrocious. But I will.
I also witnessed that video. It was absolutely terrible, and honestly, maybe suppose that graphic found its way into the trash. Maybe you had the Steelers winning the division, and maybe you had the Ravens winning the division. It is what it is.
Undefeated season.
Still, we only have one difference. So let's keep going to the games here. We got Minnesota and the Joshua Dobbses going against the Las Vegas Raiders. Spencer, you got the Raiders jersey on. Let's go.
Well, I got to do it. Shout out my roommate, Logan the Piscopo. Mm-hmm. We're riding with the Raiders this week. Listen, I don't think Aiden O'Connell has really played that bad. Again, they're in a tough situation. You have the head coach getting fired. The organization has been rough, to say the least, for the past 2 or 3 years. But they've got Josh Jacobs. They've got one of the best receivers in the league in Devontae Adams. They have the weapons. The defense, yeah, they struggle, but they're going against a Minnesota team with Joshua Dobbs at quarterback, who, again, he has not played bad. It's been really... it's been special to see what he's done, but I'm rocking the jersey. Give me the Raiders. I think Devontae is going for at least 150 plus.
Jay Jettis could be back this week, suppose, and you're wearing the Vikings jersey. There we go.
Let's go. I'm gonna take Josh.
You're taking the Raiders, right?
I'm gonna take Josh Dobbs and the Vikings. To me, it's pretty simple. I think Josh Dobbs has been playing really well here, considering the fact that he has more mileage on an airplane than probably an astronaut going into outer space. So, I mean, that's just incredible to see. He's really able to work with the team. Jay Jettis might be back. But all the points Spencer's made were very valid. Devontae Adams has some of the best hands in the league in recent memory, no question. He's a spectacular receiver, makes any quarterback look good. O'Connell's really stepped up. That's credit to him. Last year's rushing yard leader, Josh Jacobs, doing pretty good too. But I will take the Vikings, overdue for a win. I think the Vikings are able to pull this one out.
Yeah, this next one could be close. Depends how Seattle plays against San Francisco, who absolutely blew out, surprisingly, the Eagles last week. Spose, let's go to you first.
San Francisco, easy. God, no. Brock Purdy will have his way with whatever team he wishes at this point. He is, speaking of underrated and disrespected, honestly, people consistently with the slander just throwing him under the bus. I really do believe Brock Purdy and the 49ers are going to the Super Bowl this year. My NFC pick is the San Francisco 49ers. Joshua Klingon, you're welcome. Use it however you wish. But I truly do believe that Brock Purdy, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, and that entire defense in Kyle Shanahan, along with Chase Young, are going to ride themselves to victory here.
Yeah, Spence?
I'd like to pick the Seahawks, but I mean, the 49ers are just so stacked. Sparky hit every point. There's not much to say. They're a great team. The offense is loaded. The defense is loaded. Shanahan's done a phenomenal job. I mean, it's 49ers, I think, easily.
Yeah, no, this next game could potentially easily be the game of the week, maybe up there with Eagles, Cowboys, but it's Bills and it's Chiefs. Spencer, let's start with you first here.
I was not really the word I'm looking for, excited of how well the Chiefs played against the Packers. I picked the Packers last week. I'll be honest. It was to make a difference between Logan and I last week. It was pretty much a joke. And then, I go on my phone in the third quarter and they're winning. So I'm going to go Bills Mafia. I think Josh Allen, I think the Bills are another team. It's go time. They are coming off the bye week. You're going to play a tough team in Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs with Travis Kelce. The defense for the Chiefs has been okay, and that offense has done their job. But I think the Bills have to drive into Kansas City, and they really have to get one here. Give me Bills Mafia.
It's in Kansas City, which means Taylor Swift might be in attendance, Spose. How much of a difference does that make?
That's $2.2 billion, baby, right there. Let me tell you what, but I am going to ride with Chiefs Kingdom, baby. You know why? Because Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, every time they get together, I'll stop that now. Every time they get together, really put on some of the best performances we've seen, like Brady and Manning did. But it's going to ride down the supporting cast in this situation. What is the supporting cast going to do? And can we see some actual good defense from either of these teams in clutch time? I do believe being an Arrowhead is an advantage towards Kansas City. Also, the coin toss, also an advantage towards Kansas City. Worst comes to worst, if you get it, I know you know. If you know, you know, you know. So I am going to ride here with Kansas City. They're definitely one of the best teams in recent memory besides the Patriots dynasty. So I'm going to put them up there. Give me Chiefs Kingdom over Bills Mafia.
Speaking of riding, I feel like it's mentioned every single week we do this here on Plead Your Case, but Broncos country, let's ride. Spencer, Spose. Let's start with Spencer here first. They're playing the Los Angeles Chargers.
Listen, guys, I'm a huge Justin Herbert fan. I think he has so much potential, but that entire organization is just a mess. I mean, there's so much I could say, and with the Broncos being as hot as they are, I know you lose a close one with another hot team in the Texans. I think Sean Payton will command that coaching position and will get this Broncos team back on the win column. So, again, as much as I'd like to pick Herbert and the Chargers, with how bad that entire situation over there is, I will take and will ride with the Broncos here.
Yeah, I'm with you right here. Here we go, baby. Here we go. No, I'm going to ride there with Russell Wilson and company, too. I mean, at the end of the day, they've won 5 of their last 6. And there's one they lost was in insanely close clutch time there against Houston, in Houston as well. I think Russell Wilson's finding his groove. He's definitely not MVP type Russell Wilson we've seen in the past, but he's definitely better than last year. You'd have to be blind to not see that. So I really like the Broncos here. Also, why does Brandon Staley still have a job? I've been wondering for 3 years.
Brandon Staley exists.
After that Jacksonville choke, I was like, if he's not gone, I was like, I'll sell my soul. And now I don't have a soul because he's still here. Fire Brandon Staley.
Feel bad for Justin Herbert, honestly.
Like, seriously. First of all, the last name Herbert, absolutely phenomenal. I love that name. Second of all, Justin Herbert, he's not getting the love and respect he deserves in this league as much as he should. He definitely gets some, but not enough because of his team. I mean, Khalil Mack leads the league in sacks. That's about the biggest note you could say on the Chargers. So I honestly say, let's ship Brandon Staley off somewhere. I don't care. Send him to 7-Eleven. Let's make a change here, please.
Yeah, Philadelphia, who suppose you just mentioned, signed Shaq Leonard, also interested in a good Ndamukong Suh. Seems like they just pick up guys and stack their team up for their postseason run, taking on the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. Spencer, let's start with you first here Sunday night.
Look, guys, this matchup is always good. Cowboys, Eagles, you hear it's one of those rivalries that it always gets heated in some type of way. It's always an exciting game. Listen, I'm going to do what I did last week. I'm going to ride with my guy Shane. I'm taking the Eagles. I think they have a huge bounce-back game. Yeah, you know what? You go in, the 49ers, they give you the work. I mean, straight up. That's what happened. They come into Philadelphia, and they completely smoke the Eagles. But I think you take that into account. I think Nick Sirianni takes that into account. I think Jalen Hurts says, all right, he sees these polls also with Purdy leading the MVP race in some unbelievable way. I know we're not supposed to say that word, but I mean, it is just insane that he's leading the MVP race. I think Jalen Hurts sees that. I think that entire offense sees that. They might put up 50 this week.
The Dak attack, Spose.
Hold on, I have to call Lanny Frattare real quick for that absolutely insane word you just used. No, in all seriousness, what, 13-0, 14-0 at home right now? Seriously? Are we kidding me? Give me the Cowboys. Now, again, pause. I am not a Cowboys fan by any stretch. Never really been that impressed.
Scott Donnelly.
Shout out to Scott Donnelly, of course, the OG right there. I've never been a fan of Dak Prescott. I think the fact that you pay 10 of your players like tens of millions of dollars they're up top of the league in payroll is insane. The fact that they are like the most expensive franchise or like have the biggest net worth is insane. It blows my mind. But back to football, Cowboys at home, I'm going to take them every time now. I've watched enough to see that when they play at home, that atmosphere is rolling. They get things to go their way. Dak gets moving. Ferguson is playing great football right now. Tony Pollard's finding his ride. They have a running back room. I don't even know half their names, and they're finding ways to get extended yards down the field. I mean, Brandon Cooks, even though he's on his like fifth team, he's doing really good. Their defense is still good. Micah Parsons is an animal. Any man that crawls on the field scares me. But like when he does it, it's okay. So give me the Cowboys in this situation.
Yeah, shout out Rico Dowdle for putting up yards for the Cowboys. Speaking of deep running back rooms. 2 Monday night games this week, guys, and the NFL decided to give us not great games, and for two of them. Tennessee-Miami is the first game here. Spencer, let's go over to you first.
Suppose we both take Tennessee? No, I'm kidding. This one's pretty easy. The Dolphins have looked great all year. Not really many injuries. I know we've seen a lot of injuries in the quarterback room and really every room in every team. But this is a Dolphins team that has, for the most part, stayed healthy. And when the offense is on, the offense is on. I mean, you have Devon Achane, you've got Mustard, you've got Tyreek Hill, you've got Jalen Waddle, and then leading the charges to it's a phenomenal offense. This is an easy game for the Fins.
Give me a hot dog with that mustard, baby, because it's the Dolphins all the way. Like, come on now, riding through the waves. But, I mean, seriously, Tyreek Hill's going to break Calvin Johnson's receiving yard record. Mostert's 31, and he's just running and scoring touchdowns like it's nothing. Tua Tagovailoa was like, I didn't think he was ever going to have a starting job again. I thought he was done medically wise. I thought it was just not going to happen. And him and his left arm have just been insane all year. I mean, and the press work he's been doing has been really good too. But I really do believe in this Dolphins team. Shout out to Tennessee for Mayo Boy. I think he's done pretty good given the circumstances. But Derrick Henry, not 100% on top of a struggling year. I'm going to take the Dolphins here too.
Final game here. The New York Giants and the New England Patriots on primetime this week, guys. What are we doing here, National Football League? But anyways, I'm going to introduce a caveat. We've been doing score predictions for the Monday Night Football games. This time we're going to do total points, and we'll see if it comes down to a tiebreaker. So get those numbers ready when you pick between Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers and, of course, those Giants. Spose, let's come to you first.
Packers, Giants. Where did you say it was again?
It's in New York.
In New York. Oh, in the Meadowlands.
New Jersey, rather.
In the Meadowlands, MetLife Stadium. I'm going to take the Packers.
Okay.
That's not what I'm double guessing here. But again, real quick. Give it to him, baby.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what. He may not have been the number one guy in everyone's eyes, but he has been rolling with the Giants. Huge shout out to Mr. DeVito. Saquon, besides A.J. Dillon, those two have the biggest quads I've ever seen in my life. He's immense. He's an amazing athlete. But for me, I think it will be, give me 56.
56 total points.
I think that the Packers will score majority. The Packers are going to score majority of that.
Does that seem high to you, Mr. Frattare?
I think the Packers
56 points.
With DeVito and the Packers rolling, I do believe somewhere in that range is acceptable.
Well, I'm going to go with the Packers. They were the team that got me the win last week that put me in this position. I love Jordan Love. I think he is their future guy. I know some people were shaky in the beginning of the season, but I think he's done a phenomenal job at this quarterback position. I think you're insane if there's going to be 56 points. I'm sorry. This is a Giants team who we have seen continuously struggle on the offensive side. I mean, if the camera was on all three of us when you first said the number, I almost fell out of my chair. I mean, 56 points will not be scored in this game. My number, I think I'm cooking with, will be 27 total points. Let's go with 28. 28 total points. It's going to be 21-7 in favor of the Packers. Give me the Packers 28 total points.
Seth Adams, perfect face. Here it was.
So we
Well,
got,
Are you kidding
Well,
me?
that's why we're
got
on TV.
okay. So
Listen,
and he's not.
No, but here's the reality of that situation. I understand my number may have been high, but brother, you are digging in the earth. How
I was
low
going to
that
say,
is.
we got a low number and we got a really
But
high
imagine
number.
it's like 35.
What if it ends up right in the middle?
Well, or
I
not
don't even-
35,
I actually
but like
don't
a
even want to
little
think
like
about that, to
like
be honest with you.
mid-40s.
42 would be right in the
Unfortunately,
middle.
the number's
42's
not
in
going
the
to
middle.
matter.
So
We're not
if-
going to come to a tie.
Yeah, I was going to say that's
No.
only if we
One of
come
us-
to a tie.
one of us is gonna win.
We have 4 differences here on Plead Your Case. Congratulations to the both of you for making
Buddy,
it this far.
it's been
and
a
best
pleasure.
of luck.
Been an honor. Been an honor, sir.
And that will conclude here for the 2023 fall semester here on Plead Your Case. Come back in the spring, in the middle of January, to find out who won this pick'em. And if we do another little mini segment or pick'em segment here on Plead Your Case for the spring. I'm Anthony DeFilippo for Ethan Spozarski, Spencer Frattare. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next semester.
This has been a production of Waynesburg Community Television.